Hey everybody, welcome to another driven yoga class. So glad you guys are here. I have a nice class planned for us today. It's a little bit of everything with maybe a little bit more emphasis on shoulders and upper back and neck. I have a lot of tension up there, especially if you're over your keyboard all day. So glad you're here. Let's get started. Standing up nice and tall on your mat, feet are hip distance apart, spread your toes. Roll your shoulders back a couple times. That always feels good. And then just relax your arms down, palms facing front. You can close your eyes or keep them just gazing down at the floor, taking a moment to prepare for our practice by coming into this moment, knowing that you're standing on your mat and trying to let all other outside thoughts just drift away. I know that's hard, especially during these times, but this is a good place to practice that. And we can practice that by noticing our bodies. So noticing the feet rooting down into your mat. And then moving up your body, feel the joints stacking one on top of the other. So knees on top of the ankles, hips stacked over the knees, shoulders stacked over the hips. And even though your ears aren't a joint, push the head back a little bit so the ears are over the shoulders. Lift the head up high, top of the head up towards the ceiling, nice long neck, shoulders pressing down. Start energizing by tightening the muscles of the glutes. Pull the pelvic floor up, pull your belly in. Nice strong pose here. Just notice what you're bringing to your mat today, where maybe there's areas of tightness. Feel the breath moving in and out. And just visualize yourself moving through the poses, moving with your breath, opening up your heart, feeling good throughout our practice today. And with your breath, adding some head rolls here. Let the head fall to one side, chin to the chest, over to the other side, and back. Maybe one more time around. And then the same thing in the opposite direction. Pausing in the middle, roll those shoulders back a couple times. Separate your feet mat distance apart or maybe even wider than your mat. Turn your feet out a little bit and reach up. Bring your arms up overhead, spread your fingers wide, look up towards the ceiling. And then as you exhale, bend your knees, drop your hips, cross your forearms, make fists with your hands, and then inhale, come all the way up, reaching up high, stretch through the spine, fingers are spread, and exhale, come down into a squat, drop your hips, make fists with your hands, cross at your forearms, and then come all the way up. Two more, just like that, stretching here, go taller on your mat, and exhale, come down, one more time. Nice way to just get the blood flowing, wake up the body. You guys might have been awake for, I don't know what time you're seeing this, but just a nice overall move to get blood flowing. Bring your hands together here. Inhale, reach up, and then stretch from side to side. Push the hips out into the opposite side of your hands, feeling that nice stretch through the side body. And then pausing in the middle. Release your hands all the way down. Bring your feet back to hip distance apart. Nice job, everybody. Let's go through a little bit of flow to continue warming up the body, open up the hips, and then we'll move on from there. I'm going to turn sideways for this. Coming towards the top of your mat. Inhale, bring your arms up overhead, reaching up high again, and then exhale, forward fold. Let's pause here for a minute since it's our first fold. Lean into your toes, relax your head, let the whole weight of your head fall down towards the mat and just turn your head from side to side. And then pause, inhale, come halfway up, flat back, hands can be on the mat or on your shins. Bring your chin forward, leaning into your toes, and then exhale, come back into your forward bend. Hands on your mat and step your left foot back for a lunge. And again, let's stay here a little bit longer than usual in a flow, just to stretch out that left hip. Dropping the hips closer to the mat. Head stays in line with your spine. Notice how you're breathing here. Nice deep breaths. Bring your hands to the mat and step your right foot back, coming right into plank pose. Squeeze your glutes together. Head in line with your spine. Push your mat away from you with your hands. One more breath in plank. And then on your next inhale, shift your weight forward. Bend your elbows into your ribs. Lower yourself down with control. And then on your inhale, come up into Cobra. Shoulders pressing down, heart shining forward. Really trying to open up the front of your spine here. Head in line with your spine. Tuck your toes. Exhale, come into down dog. And again, since we're still warming up, let's just pedal it out here. So nice and slowly, one heel down, the opposite knee is bent. Hold that stretch. Relax the head. And then switch sides. Nice stretch through the calves and the hamstrings. And then press both heels down into the mat. Walk your feet forward or hop forward, coming back into your forward bend. Bend your knees, reverse swan dive all the way up. And hands to heart center. Inhale through your nose. Exhale, open mouth. One more time, inhale. Open mouth, exhale, nice and loud. Same thing on the other side. Inhale, bring your arms up overhead, reaching up high, bring your gaze up, and exhale, fold. Inhale, halfway, and exhale, fold. Hands on your mat, right leg back for a lunge. And again, we'll hold this. We'll go through this flow. Don't pause, hold, but since plank, holding here just for a couple of breaths, really engaging the muscles in the glutes, pulling the belly in, pelvic floor up. One more breath. Awesome, everybody. Shift your weight forward. Bend your elbows. You can bring your knees to the mat here if you like. It's a little kinder, gentler on the shoulders. To Cobra, really try to press the chest and the heart forward. Tuck your toes, down dog. And then walk forward or hop forward, forward bend. Reverse swan dive all the way up. And hands to heart center. Two more cleansing breaths. Inhale through the nose. Open mouth. Exhale nice and loud from the throat. One more time. Inhale. And nice long exhale. Let's go through that one more time. This time not stopping for each pose. We'll just match movement to breath. Get the heart rate up a little bit, and then we'll move into some core work. So let's continue. Inhale, bring your arms up overhead, reaching up high. And exhale, fold. Inhale, halfway. Exhale, fold. Left leg back for a lunge. Right leg back for plank. Inhale, shift forward. And exhale, lower down. Inhale, Cobra. Exhale, down dog. Inhale, walk forward. Exhale, forward bend. Reverse swan dive all the way up. We're going to go right into the other side here. And exhale, forward bend. Inhale, halfway. Exhale, fold, weight in the toes. Right foot back. Back. Inhale, shift forward. And exhale, lower down. Inhale, Cobra. And exhale, down dog. Nice job, everybody. Walk your feet forward or hop forward. Forward bend. Reverse swan dive all the way up. Let's add a little back bend here. Keeping your hips over your knees, but reaching back with your hands. Dropping your shoulders closer to your mat. Gaze up at the ceiling. And then straighten. Exhale, forward fold. Step back into down dog. Separate your feet the width of your mat. And with straight knees, not locked knees though, straight knees, just shift your weight from side to side. Drop your head. And then come back to center. Feet hip distance apart. Come down into tabletop. Extend your left arm up and your right leg back. Gazing down at your mat. Inhale, stretch these limbs in opposite directions. Right toes are pointing down. Try to keep your hips even too. There's a tendency here to lift that hip where the leg is up. Try to keep them even. Not just holding the arms up and leg up, but reaching and stretching. Inhale, stretch a little bit longer. And exhale, elbow and knee together underneath. Squeeze it together, belly in. Inhale, extend and stretch. And exhale, contract. Inhale, stretch. 2 more. Try to keep that right arm nice and strong around the shoulder so that the chest is not dropping. And then keep the leg up, but release the left hand down to your mat. Bend your knee, point your toes. We're just going to pulse here a little bit. Getting some movement through the hip. Tightening the glute on each pulse. Just a couple more. And then pause with that pulsing. Reach around with your left hand, grab onto the top of your foot, press your foot into your hand, lift your knee, and hold. Gaze off the top of your mat, pull your belly in. 2 more breaths. Inhale. And exhale. Inhale. And exhale. Relax your posture. Child's pose, just to rest that wrist a little bit, roll it around, open and close your fists. Reach out to the top of your mat, pausing here for 2 breaths. Relax your head down to your mat. And just noticing, notice how you feel. Notice the breath. And let's come up and do the other side. So right arm up, left leg back, we'll hold. Hips are even. Reaching in opposite directions. If you reach really far, you can feel your belly muscles stretching. So go for that nice stretch. Head stays in line with the spine. Left arm is nice and strong so that the chest is high. Inhale, stretch a little bit more. And exhale, contract. Elbow and knee together, chin to the chest. Press your spine up, belly in. Inhale, extend and stretch. Exhale, contract. Really tight here, pull it all together. 2 more. And release that right arm down. Keep the left knee up. Point the toes. So the thigh is parallel to the floor as much as you can. And just pulse. Tightening the glutes when you're pulsing up and releasing when you're pulsing down. So it's a very quick motion. Just a couple more. And pause. Reach around with your right hand, grab onto your foot, press the foot into your hand, lift your knee up, toes coming up towards the ceiling and pointing also towards your head, lifting your chin, adding a little back bend here. Breathe and notice. And relax your posture. Nice job, everybody. Child's pose, this time with feet up, knees apart. Toes are together, knees are apart, reaching forward with your hands. Deep breath as you exhale. Try to lower your chin. Release your posture. Come back up. Nice job, everybody. Have a seat on your mat. Legs out in front of you. Coming into staff pose, sitting up nice and tall. I'm going to turn to this side just for a minute because I want you to see my back here. So my legs are out, ankles are flexed, but my back is nice and straight. If this is hard for you to do, consider sitting against a wall, and the wall will help you align your spine. Hands are at the sides, shoulders are back and down, top of the head reaching up towards the ceiling, so we lengthen the neck, lengthen the spine. Shoulders are down and back, and then think about knitting the muscles around your spine together in towards the center. Breathe. So this looks like it's a nothing pose, but it's really hard when you start activating all those muscles. Just a couple more breaths. All right, nice, everybody. And then separate your feet as wide as you can. Just keep walking them out. Some people can go really far. Some people go a little bit, doesn't matter, just go as far as it feels good for you, but try to keep that back straight. Sometimes when we open our legs, we start to fold over. Stay nice and straight in your spine. Inhale, bring your arms up overhead, root down through your sitting bones. Shoulders are down, reaching up high. Notice how lifting up your arms changes the stretch in your legs. And then as you exhale, lean forward. Keep your back straight, so no curving forward. Bring your hands to the mat, shoulders back, and hold. So one straight line from your tailbone to the top of your head, stretching the muscles of the groin. Toes are pointing up. Let's hold here for 4 breaths. Now, if this is really challenging, you can bend your knees a little bit. That takes a little bit of the strain away. You can also sit on a block or a couple books or a pillow. That helps too. So make sure there's no pain in this pose. Just deep stretching. One more breath. And then walk your hands all the way back. Nice job. Bring those feet back together. Shake out those legs. Bend your left. Let's to the left. Bring your right elbow to the outside of your left knee. Left hand is behind your head, but you're not leaning into it. Let me turn to the side so you can see how that looks. A lot of people will lean back into their hand. You want to keep that hand right behind your hip, spine straight, looking to the left. And then if you want to go deeper, you can turn your head over your shoulder. Nice stretch through the neck. See how that feels. One more breath here. These twists are really good for our immune system, so now more than ever, we need to be doing twists. Nice, everybody. Release your posture. Inhale, arms up overhead. And exhale, fold over, again with the flat back for as long as you can. Let your hands come down wherever they can come down, onto your knees, onto your shins, maybe grabbing onto your toes. Maybe you can stretch further, whatever feels right for you. Heels are pushing away. One more breath, straight back, so pressing that chest forward. And on your next exhale, now we can go a little deeper by bending through the spine. Forearms on either side of your legs, chin to your chest. Notice that deep stretch, especially in the lower back, but relax the shoulders. And come back to center. That's a good one. All right, let's do the other side. So this time, the right leg comes in. Give yourself a nice hug. So when we pull that thigh into the chest, it doesn't really feel like it, but we're massaging our internal organs, which is really good for digestion. And good digestion is another way to increase your immune system. Left foot is flexing up. Nice tall spine here, just like before. Inhale, bring your arms up overhead. And then exhale, twist to the right. Release your arms down, left elbow to the outside of the right knee. Remember that right arm now is behind your hip, but you're not leaning into it so much. It's just there as like a little kickstand. But keep this spine straight. Look over to the right. Spread those fingers, shoulders down away from your ears as much as you can. And if you want to get that stretch through your neck, look over that right shoulder. Keep that belly pulled in. One more breath. And release your posture. Nice job, everybody. Inhale, reach up high with a flat back, fold over, grabbing onto whatever you can grab onto on your legs. Keep your back nice and straight. Shining your heart forward will help with that straight back. Inhale. And then exhale. You can stay here if you want, but if you want to get that lower back stretch, come down with your forearms onto either sides of your legs. You can bring your chin to your chest, and just adding that little bit of movement, you can really feel the stretch change in your back, in your legs. So notice that. And then walk your hands up. Let's come into a half lotus. So bend your right knee in and bring your left foot to the outside edge of your right thigh. Press your hand just very gently on that left knee. If this doesn't feel right for you, you can bring that leg onto your calf. You can bring it down to the floor so that the ankles are in a straight line. So modify however you need to be in the pose. Bring your other hand to your right knee. Let's just take a couple of deep cleansing breaths here. So inhale through your nose. And then exhale with an open mouth, deep from the throat. Nice. One more time. Inhale. And exhale. It's a very distinct sound. Some people refer to it as the waves coming up to shore. Other people call it Darth Vader breathing. Doesn't matter what you call it, but the breathing helps to relax and calm down the central nervous system, which we need to be doing these days. So if you're in that half lotus, let's go to the other side. So right ankle on the left thigh, up by that hip crease. Bring your right hand onto your right knee, gently press it down. 2 cleansing breaths here. Inhale through your nose. Nice and slowly, filling up the belly. And open mouth, exhale. Trying to keep that breath as long as you can, so you have to really pace yourself. And at the end of that exhale, pull your belly in. Let's try one more time. Inhale. And exhale. This breathing not only relaxes your central nervous system, it also strengthens the lungs and creates greater lung capacity, which is also important during these days. All things to be healthy. Let's come back onto our mat, all the way on our backs. Pull your knees into your chest and rock from side to side. Try to keep your tailbone down so you get a nice massage. And then bring your hands under your knees, roll up onto your hips, but don't let your feet touch the mat. Let's do that a couple more times. Roll all the way back, come up, balancing on your sitting bones. Nice massage for the spine. And then we'll pause here. Nice straight back here, so shine your heart up towards the ceiling. We're gonna come into boat pose, and you have some options. You can keep your heels on the mat. You can raise your legs so that your calves are parallel to the floor, or you can straighten your knees. Either way, whichever version you're choosing today, try to keep your back straight. Bring your arms out in front of you, palms facing up. Keep shining your heart up, pull your belly in. And let's hold for 4 breaths. Straight arms reaching forward, shoulders are down, head in line with your spine. We're leaning back here. I forgot to say that. Release your shoulders down towards the mat so you feel your core muscles engage. Two more breaths. Nice, everybody. Roll back 1 vertebrae at a time. So tilt your pelvis a little bit and try to use control as you roll back onto your mat nice and slowly. Bring your arms up overhead, straighten your knees, reach in opposite direction. And then exhale, knees to the chest. Extend your arms out into a T shape. Release the knees to the left side of your mat. Turn your head to the right. Nice spinal stretch here. Try to keep those joints stacked. So the hips are stacked for a deeper stretch. Knees are stacked. If that's too much, then just let them be how they want to be. We can modify every pose to go more gently or deeper, whatever is right for you. And then use your belly muscles to bring the knees back to center. And then over to the other side. So knees are to the right. Turn your head to the left. So nice stretch through the neck. Feel that in the hips and the lower back. Everyone feels this stretch differently. So notice where you're feeling it. Check in with your breath. And check to see if you're still present in your practice. Are you in your body? Or are you thinking about your next meal? I'm always thinking about food, so that's my go-to. And yoga is a great way for me to take my mind off of that. All right, and come back to center. Roll back up to a seated position. Straighten the legs. Bring your arms up overhead. And let's see if this time in our forward fold, we can go a little deeper. Maybe, excuse me, keep your back nice and straight. Inhale, reach up. And exhale, fold. See if you can reach a little further than you did last time. Trying to keep that back straight, shining the heart forward. Head in line with your spine. Maybe a micro bend in your knees if you need that. Release your posture. Bring your arms all the way up. And once again, we're going to release back down to our mat 1 vertebrae at a time. This time our legs are straight, so it's a little different. Nice and slowly, try to maintain control of the movement. Try not to plop down at the end. Using your core muscles to help you here. Release your arms down to your sides. Nice job. Bend your knees. And just move any way that feels good right now, just to release anything from your lower back. All right, coming into bridge pose, and we'll add some leg work here. So just feel your whole spine on the mat. Take a deep breath in, and as you exhale, tilt your pelvis Press your navel to your spine, pull your pelvic floor up, and then peel your spine away from the mat, one vertebrae at a time, nice and slowly. Root down through your feet. Press your hips up, tighten your glutes. Pausing here, you can walk your shoulders in towards the center line of your mat, one step. That will lift your hips a little bit higher. Tighten your glutes, try to maintain your knees are in line with your hips. Sometimes I like to separate a little bit, so keep them in alignment. Holding here for 4 breaths. It's a little harder to breathe because our throat is cut off a little bit. So a shorter inhale, longer exhale. You might feel your thighs start to shake, that's okay. One more breath. And then slowly release your spine down, one vertebrae at a time, so articulating through the spine. Come back to the natural spine on your mat. Straighten your legs on the mat, bring your arms up overhead, stretch your body. And exhale, knees to the chest, give yourself a hug. Tell yourself, good job just for showing up today, right? Showing up is the hardest part sometimes, not all the time. Release your feet down to the mat. Let's come back into that bridge pose, and we're gonna add on to that. So natural spine to start. Inhale here. Exhale, press your spine into the mat. Lift your hips, lifting each vertebrae one at a time. Root down, press down through your feet. Tighten your glutes. Pull your pelvic floor up. Navel is in. Walk your shoulders in. Knees in alignment with your hips. 2 breaths here this time. Notice too when you inhale how close your chest comes to your chin, because we're really looking through that curve in the thoracic spine. So you want to lift up here, which will bring your chest closer to your chin. So that's a good gauge for this pose. And now let's walk our left foot one step in towards the center line of the mat. Root down through that foot and lift your right leg up. Okay, here's the challenge. Just lever that right leg up and down a couple of times. So really using the strength of the left side of the body while we're getting movement in that right hip socket. Oh, I feel my glutes burning. That's okay. Burning is okay. One more time. If you feel any pain in your knee or your hip, come out of the pose. All right. Bring that right foot back down to your mat. Release your hips down. Pull your knees in towards your shoulders this time. We'll do that same thing on the other side. Bring your feet back down to the mat. So one last bridge pose. Starting out with a neutral spine. Inhale here. Exhale, pelvic tilt. And then peel your spine away. Pressing down through the feet, tightening the glutes. Walk your shoulder blades together. We'll hold for 1 breath. And then walk your right foot in towards the center line of the mat. Root down through that right foot. All the weight's going to be there. Lift your left leg up. Point your toes or reach up high. Try to touch the ceiling with your toes. And then lever that leg up and down. So this is a good movement for this left hip because in our normal life, we normally don't do this movement, right? Like walking and running and doing stairs. We don't really get this kind of movement so much. So our hips need this. One more. My glasses are fogging up. That's how hot I'm getting from all this work. And release that foot down to the mat. Release your spine down. Pull your knees into your chest. Straighten your legs on the mat. Stretch your body in opposite directions. And then we're going to roll up 1 vertebrae at a time. So take a deep breath in, engage your core, And as you exhale, lift your arms up towards the ceiling and roll up into a seated position. Reaching up, back is flat. Nice long body from the tailbone to the tops of your fingertips. And then as you exhale, roll back. We did this already, but let's do a couple of more, one vertebrae at a time with control. Reaching your arms all the way back. Inhale here. Exhale, bring your arms up overhead nice and slowly. Roll up one vertebrae at a time. Try to keep your heels on the mat. Reaching up high. And then exhaling, coming back. So there's one point where a lot of times our bodies just give out and we plop down. Try to notice that. Try to resist that urge and use control by engaging your core. One more time coming up. And then one more time coming down. Nice job, everybody. Bring your knees towards your shoulders. And let's just rock back a couple of times. These are reverse crunches. You've done these before, I'm sure. Using your lower core muscles down towards the pelvis to lift the hips just ever so slightly off the mat. And then from here, we're going to come into a shoulder stand. So the next time your hips are coming up off the floor, you can use your hands under your hips for help. And you have some options here. A half shoulder stand is when your legs are at an angle over your head. Full shoulder stand is when the legs are perpendicular to the floor. A little hard to breathe in this pose, so do your best. Holding here, short inhales, longer exhales. This is great for circulation, great for your heart. It's hard to talk in this position because my throat is cut off. One more breath. And then if you like, you can hold here for a couple more breaths, or if you want, you can go a little deeper into the stretch for the back and the hamstrings by lowering your legs over your head parallel to the floor. See how that feels? If that's okay and you want to go further, come higher up onto your shoulders, releasing your toes down to the floor. I'm not sure mine are going to make it today. So maybe it's an okay pose for you. So if you want to bring your feet all the way to the floor, go ahead. Just play around with this pose. You can bring your hands to your mat so that you engage the core a little bit more. And slowly release. Once again, using control. Nice job, everybody. Bring your arms up overhead, stretch your body in opposite directions. Interlace your fingers, press your palms away from you, and then bring your hands over to the left and your feet over to the left, a couple inches. Keep both hips on the mat. This is banana pose. So we're in the shape of a banana. Feel that nice stretch on the right side of your body. And then come back to center. And same thing on the other side. Feet and hands come to the right, hips stay on the mat, stretching the left side of the body. And then come back to center. Nice job. Release your hands. Bring your hands under your knees. Pull your knees into. Once again, pull up to a seated position. And roll all the way back a couple of times, massaging the spine. And then come back up and switch your legs out from under you. Do a little bit of plank work, and then we'll start to wrap up our practice. So glad you guys are here with me today. So let's come into plank. You have options here. Full plank, modified plank on the knees. Try to keep a straight line from the knees to the top of your head. You can do forearm plank with the forearms down, or you can do a modified forearm plank with the knees down, a straight line. So choose the one that feels better for you today. I'm going to do full plank. We're going to hold this for 6 breaths. So find your favorite version of plank pose. Spread the fingers nice and wide, pressing down into the pads of your fingertips. Come up onto the toes rather than the balls of the feet. Pull your kneecaps up. Squeeze those glutes, pull the pelvic floor up high, pull the belly in. Press the mat away from you. And breathe. You really need to breathe in this pose. Nice, long, deep yogic breaths. One more breath. Nice, everybody. Drop that right knee. Bring that right foot out towards the right a little bit, and then turn to your left, stacking your hips, bringing that left arm up towards the ceiling. Reaching up overhead. Nice stretch to the left side of your body. Turn your gaze up to the ceiling. We'll hold this for a couple of breaths. If you want to add a little balancing posture here, you can lift that left leg up off the mat, or keep it down. But feel that nice stretch from your toes to the fingertips on the left side, strengthening the right shoulder as we hold the pose. One more breath. And release your posture. Let's come into embryo pose just to relax the wrists. And then we'll do the same thing on the other side. So bring the arms along the sides of the body. Relax the head all the way down. Open and close your fists a couple times. And a couple breaths right there. All right, come back. One more plank pose, you guys. Plank poses are so good for us. So you can do the same version you did last time, or if you want to change it up a little bit, feel free to do that. I'm going to turn the other side because when we open up, I don't want to have my back to you. So here we go. We'll hold it for 4 breaths this time. But it's counterintuitive, but the more you engage your muscles in this pose, the easier it is. Pressing your mat away from you, shoulders are down your back, away from your ears, tightening your glutes. 2 more breaths. Keep that head in line with the spine. Nice job. Drop that left knee now. Turn the foot out a little bit towards the left. Come on to your right side. Bringing the right arm up towards the ceiling. Turn your gaze up. Nice stretch for the neck. Spread your fingers. Reach up high. Keep that left shoulder nice and strong. Inhale here. And then reach above your head. Nice and long. Feel that nice stretch to your body. Notice if this side feels different from the other side. Sometimes that happens. So just notice. You can lift that right leg if you want to add a balancing posture. Keeping the core engaged. 2 more breaths. Ah, it feels good to stretch. Relax your posture. And child's pose or embryo pose or any other pose that will help you. Into tabletop. Cross your ankles, shift your weight over your feet, and come all the way back onto your mat. Bring your arms out to a T shape. Separate your feet the width of your mat. Relax your shoulders. Relax all the muscles in your face. Palms facing up, fingers are spread, and just rock your knees from side to side. They may or they may not touch the ground. As your knees are coming across, try to add a little bit of a pelvic tilt, and that will give you a nice massage of your lower back. Now, we can't underestimate those massages. They help to break up the connective tissue that sometimes get dehydrated. They're considered plastic fibers, so we need to keep them nice and massaged. Bring the knees back to center, toe heel your feet to hip distance apart. Inhale, bring your arms up overhead and stretch your body in opposite directions. And exhale, chin to the chest, wrap your arms around your shins, lift your head, neck, and shoulders, squeeze into coming into our resting pose. Do your resting pose. Some people turn off the video and leave at this point thinking, oh, I can skip that. This is maybe the most important part of your practice. In an ideal world, we would do this longer, for about 15 minutes. But we'll just stay here for a minute or two. Deep breath in through your nose. Open mouth. Exhale. Let your head be heavy. Let your shoulders and your arms be heavy. Feel your hips sinking into the mat. Muscles are soft, not holding anything tight here. Check in with your jaw, see if you're clenching, or see if you can relax your jaw a little bit more than it is already. Notice the breath going in and going out. Count the length of your breath and see if the inhale is the same length as the exhale. It typically is when we don't think about it. So notice if that's true for you. And if it is, in these last couple of breaths, try to make your exhale longer than your inhale. So you'll have to count. But breathing out a longer exhale helps to calm down the central nervous system, slow down the heart rate, and bring some peacefulness into our bodies and our minds. So one more breath. And then slowly start to move your body. You can stay in Shavasana if you like. Do that longer. Sometimes during the day, I'll just, even if I'm not practicing yoga at that particular time, I'll just get on the floor and do a Shavasana pose for 15 minutes, staying focused on my breath. It's very calming. So try that. See if you like it. Skip the yoga and go right to Shavasana. I'm not saying to skip yoga. I'm saying to, a couple times a day, just do a Shavasana pose. Feels really great. Come over onto your side and help yourself up into a seated posture so we can close our practice mindfully. Sitting up nice and tall on your mat. Close your eyes. Feel yourself sitting. Finding gratitude for each healthy breath, for our ability to get together via YouTube and share our practice. Bring your hands to heart center. The light in me salutes the light in you. Namaste.